The weekend of our Revolutionary Love Conference, on that warm as summer Saturday, I had to take a break and get out in the sunshine. I'm an extrovert, but there was a lot of people in here. So I went to my apartment and changed into some shorts and turned on my phone. And I thought to myself, I will give Mom a quick call, because I'm always giving her some drive-by love. And then I remembered, I can't call her. She's not here. So I was sad, and I thought about her tenderly, and I decided rather than walk, I would go and get a mani-pedi. Because that's kind of like exercise. Little point and flat, a little bit. But I also knew that Mommy would be really happy, because she always was telling me to go and take some time for myself. So I sit in the chair, and the wonderful technician is doing my nails, and she bends her head up, and I see that her name tag says Emma. And that's my mom's name. So I say, "Is that your name?" And she goes, "Yes." "And that's not your real name." So then she says her Chinese name in a way that I can't pronounce. But she picked the name Emma. She said, "I picked the name Emma." So I said, wow. And with tears leaking a bit from my eyes, I thought, well, thank you, Mommy. I see you. This is a sign. Now, it might not have been a sign, but I decided I was going to take it as a sign and get my little nails done, and they've lasted all this time, so that's good. But there are signs of Mom everywhere in our family. We're beginning to really pay attention. Making coffee, my dad listens to order my steps over and over and over again, and that's a sign of Mom. Standing on a beach in North Carolina, my brother felt a sun ray on his face, and my sister-in-law, a dragonfly hovering, a sign from Mom. My brothers are looking in the faces of their daughters and seeing Mommy's face there. Their sons shooting basketball hoops, and Mom played starting guard on her high school team in Mississippi. So they see some skills. She had skills. A sign of Mom. My sister's reading a book, and there's Mommy's name, Emma Lee, one of the characters. What? A sign. And one of our great nephews named his baby Emily. Different spelling, but a sign of Mom's influence. Mom has gone on to live with God, but she is, I truly believe, still here with us. She's in our memories. She's in these strange signs from her. She's in the kitchen making sweet potato pie. She's at the dining room table beating Dad's pants off in Rummy 500. She's on the dance floor on their first date, twirling her flared out skirt to "I Found My Thrill on Blueberry Hill." She's having shopping therapy with her friend Lois at Carson's. She keeps some things, she hides some things, and she takes some back. She's babysitting grandchildren. She's telling you every day she can, "I love you, precious." She's asking you if you want some water, some orange juice, some cake, some water, some orange juice, some cake. Oh my God, I'm so like that. "Do you need anything? Can I help you?" A sign from Mom. She's packing her Tupperware for delivery. She's teaching her daughters how to crochet. She's talking to her sister on the phone every day. She's praying every day before her feet hit the floor. She prays and she names all of us, everybody. Children, grandchildren, aunts, uncles, in-laws, and mostly Dad. There are signs of Mom's presence in our lives, signs everywhere that she's here. And sometimes we'll see the signs, and sometimes we just can't. Our eyes are too full of tears, or our grief is too heavy and fresh. We might miss them because we haven't yet trained our eyes and hearts fully to recognize them. You and I know some things about grief, don't we? We know that sometimes grief makes us to be in denial. That's why we think we can call somebody who's no longer here. And that's a way to protect ourselves. We might forget for a moment that they're gone and then realize, oh my gosh, yeah, not here. Our grief sometimes makes us angry. Our family is so damn mad at that cancer, we could scream. And that anger is natural and a part of grief, and sometimes when we're not careful, we take it out on each other. It catches us by surprise. And you're like, oops, my bad. That was a little stank. I'm sorry. Sometimes grief makes us bargain. When our beloved is sick, we're praying, oh God, if you'll only save her, heal her, fix her, I will never, something you know you're going to do anyway, but you're pretending like you're going to stop it. Or when they die, when they pass on, you're like, oh my God, if only we had one more, you know what I'm talking about? Sometimes grief makes us feel guilty. We connect anything we've done in the past to the person's death. I bet it was the time I was, or when and maybe that caused it. The guilt actually makes us feel like we have more power than we do. The space of grief can be a tricky space. Our emotions run high. Sometimes we're numb. The way we grieve is as particular as our fingerprints. Each of us grieving in our own way, sometimes soft and quiet, sometimes loud and turbulent. Sometimes grief pulls us in, sometimes it makes us want to hug and touch and be held. Sometimes the quiet one will lose their mind and scream, and sometimes the loud one will get really peaceful. It's all natural, because grief is going to do to us what it wants to do. Many of you have lost a beloved as we've journeyed together. Moms have gone on. Grandmoms have gone on. Fathers, lovers, partners, children have gone on. And the loss of a loved one can make us feel as though we have lost our minds. We can wonder, even when we're all sitting together in a group, does anybody really know how I feel? Does anybody understand me? And in a crowd, we can feel alone. And friends, I'm convinced that we are in a national period of mourning. Now, maybe I'm projecting, correct me if I'm wrong, but the lack of a moral vision in this administration, to me, is a little bit like the world dying a little bit at a time on the vine. Amen? Amen? We're not all aware of it, but it's like hovering right here. It's like a cloud, right? Almost like a national level of depression and despondence. Like, what the heck is going on, right? It just feels like heavy. You feel sleepy. You feel tired. Am I speaking your language? Some of us are so PO'd, and that's a part of the grief, right? Some of us are in denial. We just busy ourselves over here. So we don't have to think about how crazy it is that we have a liar in chief in the White House. Some of us feel guilty about it. Like we think to ourselves, did we do all we could? Some of us didn't vote. I'm just thinking. Some of us didn't, right? Some of us like, it won't count. And we wonder, what if we had? Or we wonder, what if we had gotten the vote out more? You see that kind of sense of bargaining. Maybe we could have made a difference. We're grieving that our nation is led by someone we do not respect, someone who does not respect women, does not respect the poor, does not respect immigrants, someone who does not respect the truth. And we're so frustrated and so disappointed that we can just feel paralyzed. Amen? Like, what can we even do to make a difference? So added to our collective grief, like our collective grief is here, and then on top of that is my beloved is sick. On top of that is it's the anniversary of the thing. You know, on top of that is the loss of mom. And so this can be huge for us in these days. And then comes Mother's Day. Thank you, Hallmark. And we think we're supposed to be something, right? Amen? that can make us feel even more isolated. And so this is where our text comes in. Because we actually are not alone. We are actually not alone. Our God is here, seeing us, recognizing us, loving us, knowing us. God is, the psalmist says, a refuge, a rock, a shelter in a time of storm. God is, the psalmist says, leading us, guiding us. God is a very present, sure to be held help in a time of trouble. God is, the psalmist claims, trustworthy. That's why when Jesus was even dying on the cross, he quoted this psalm and said, "Into your hands, God, I give you my breath. I give you my spirit. I give you my life." God is able to do more than we can ask or imagine. God is able to save us on God's behalf, to wrap us in steadfast love. And listen, the psalmist doesn't make these claims from some lofty place on high, from some wealthy, safe, secure place. The psalmist makes this claim as a poor, struggling people. A person watching desolation, watching his folks be kidnapped and taken off to other lands. The psalmist declares God's ongoing faithfulness, not from, woohoo, my life is fabulous, but from, oh my God, this kind of sucks, and God is. This is kind of terrifying, and yet God is. I feel kind of forsaken, and yes, God is. I feel lonely and lost and troubled, and yet God is. So what is the psalmist saying about God? God doesn't wrap us in cellophane and protect us from the things that might come our way. God isn't a genie where we rub the lamp and God grants our 30 wishes. God is presence, peace, forgiveness, steadfast love, a place to hide our face when we're frightened, love that is constant and unconditional. God is love. The love you just as you are, God loved my mom. That's the one to whom she prayed every day. Her prayers didn't make the cancer stop. Although I would argue she lived 7 years with that diagnosis because of prayer. But eventually, bodies are going to do what bodies do. Prayers won't stop bodies from dying. But from her first breath to her last breath, God was there in the breathing, in the inhale and in the exhale. The psalmist knows what my mom knew, that God is able to hold our breath in her hands. And we know this is true. We've seen God show up. You step off a sidewalk and the car comes whizzing around the corner and some stranger pulls your arm back and you can feel that God is there, amen? There is a time you're so tired, Shanta, you and I with the subway car, you're so tired and you need a seat on the train and somebody gets up and gives it to you, right? And God is there. We're saved in the steadfast love of God. John tells us God is love. And sometimes God is more subtle than saving you from a car crash or giving you a seat. Sometimes God shows up in the gaze that your friend holds when they travel to your funeral. And you feel God's love right there in the eye contact. And sometimes God shows up in a whispered prayer that's just exactly on time. Sometimes God shows up in a tweet or a Facebook post that surprises you with joy and grace, a short story that reminds you that goodness is at work in the world, and it's a force stronger than malevolence. You see a butterfly that comes so close to you, and you want to grab it, and it lands on your arm, and God is there. The sun setting on these concrete buildings, God is there. I am training myself to look for signs of Mom's presence. But I'm also training myself to look for more signs of God's presence. Not Herculean, destroy the enemy, God sightings. But everyday, soft, gentle kindness, warmth, collegiality, surprising grace, God in the signs. If God is love, and those who live in love live in God, and God lives in them, then actually you are a sign. You are a sign, I am a sign of God's love in the world. What if we train our eyes to look for signs? Yesterday, I was at my goddaughter's baby shower. I've never been to a shower like this. There were boys there, there were women there were children there, lots of drinks there. It was a big old party. And lots of children, lots of pregnant people and lots of children. There was a little 2-year-old girl named Sophia, chocolatey brown little girl with pigtails, and she was just fascinated with John Janka, my husband. It was so gorgeous to watch. She sort of followed him around, and because John pays attention, he asked her to dance. And so they did a little two-step in the middle of the dance floor, Sophia and John. And then, a little while later, she came to him and reached her arms up for him to pick her up. A little black girl wanting to be lifted up by a white, tall guy. And her black father, he was a black father, didn't do suspicion and weird and strange and like, what's up? It was just like a beautiful, graceful, gorgeous symbol of love at work in the world, a sign of what can be. Oh, man. I thought to myself, that might be a sign from Mom. But then I went, no. That one's just a sign from God. That love is love is love is love. That even though we live in some crazy hot mess times, there are good people all over the country doing amazing, stunning things. Beautiful people. A love army of people who are Christian and Muslim and Jewish and Buddhist and Sikh and atheists and agnostics, all doing the love thing. This is a sign. So I told you I wasn't sure if this was a Mother's Day sermon. It's a Mother's Day-ish sermon. Surely my mom's death is right here. And sometime I just want to curl up in a ball and not leave the house. That's a fact. But mostly, your prayers and your love and the movement in which we're involved and all of the care and the beauty that's running my way because it's my turn and all the things we do together in the world to make a difference. Oh my God, that's the sermon. There are signs everywhere of God doing what God is doing. Let's look for them. Let's remember that we are those signs. And let's love our way to the future about which we dream. We might not all get there together, but we will get to that promise if we just keep loving. Amen. You know, I'm a pretty faithful person. I believe in this thing we do. But never have I been more confident that God answers prayers than in these weeks, where your prayers have been such a force in my life. You are a sign. You are a sign that God is a refuge. You are a sign that God is love. So let's go in the world and look for signs everywhere. When someone asks you, what's your sign? Pisces. No, wait. Gemini. Don't sing that soul song. Say, my sign is love. My sign is love. Go, be, do the sign language. I love you so much. Be love in the world. Amen. Amen.